Adopté en 2018, le Luxembourg continuera à appuyer le développement des capacités permettant de renforcer la lutte contre l'impunité. Nous sommes un partenaire de longue date de Justice Rapid Response et d'ONU Femmes qui œuvrent ensemble pour fournir une expertise spécialisée pouvant être rapidement déployée pour mener les enquêtes et venir en aide aux victimes d'actes de violences sexuelles et sexistes dans le cadre des conflits. Les survivantes et les survivants méritent à la fois réparation et justice, ainsi qu'une garantie de non-répétition. La responsabilité de protéger nous oblige à les soutenir. Cette responsabilité nous incombe à nous tous et le Luxembourg continuera à prendre sa part dans cet effort. Je vous remercie.
Je remercie le représentant de Luxembourg and I now give the floor to the representative of Malta.
Mr. Chair, I would like to thank the German presidency for holding this annual open debate on sexual violence in conflict, and I also thank the Secretary General for the annual report. Malta fully supports the statement delivered by the European Union. I take this occasion to acknowledge also the contribution of civil society in this area. The annual open debate on sexual violence in conflict provides a critical opportunity for taking stock in this important aspect of the women, peace and security agenda. Though political momentum to combat sexual violence has resulted in some progress, we are still a long way from ending this crime, partly because of the peace and security challenges the international community continues to face, including mass migration and displacement, rising violent extremism and terrorism, conflict and the proliferation of arms. We must redouble our efforts to sustain the momentum for change. Mr. Chair, it is the responsibility of all states to support and assist survivors to hold perpetrators to account. It is unacceptable that perpetrators of conflict-related sexual violence, both from states and non-state armed groups, should be allowed to continue to live in impunity. The fight against impunity for conflict-related sexual violence and the role of accountability as an effective prevention tool are crucial to women's peace and security agenda. When sexual violence is not addressed, reconciliation efforts and the transition to more stable, secure, and peaceful societies are undermined, which often leads to a long-lasting impact on survivors, their families, and their communities. In this regard, the importance of the role of civil society, including women's rights groups, in peace-building and post-conflict reconciliation efforts at the grassroots level cannot be stressed enough. We must continue to support them. Mr. Chair, the continued effective collaboration and coordination between all UN Security Council instruments for women, peace and security and conflict-related sexual violence is very much welcome. Malta fully supports the mandate of the UNSG Special Representative on Sexual Violence in Conflict. We agree that a holistic survivor-centered approach is needed when dealing with the fight against sexual violence in conflict, one that is based in gender equality, inclusive of all stakeholders, and can be integrated in the UN programs and actions across the board. By pursuing such an approach, essential for the implementation of the Women, Peace and Security Agenda, and by continuing our work on gender equality and ensuring full and effective participation of women and girls in all spheres, we will be able to make a real difference. Thank you.
I thank the representative of Malta, and I now give the floor to the representative of Qatar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have the honor of delivering this statement on behalf of 51 members of the Group of Friends on the Responsibility to Protect, co-chaired this year by Denmark and the State of Qatar. The group would like to thank Germany for organizing today's important open debate. I also would like to extend our gratitude to Nobel Peace Prize winners Dr. Denis Mukwege and Ms. Nadia Murad for their informative briefings and persistent efforts to end the use of sexual violence as a tactic of war and armed conflict. Mr. President, as the Secretary General noted, sexual violence in conflict is a historically hidden crime that requires early warning and swift responses. Sexual violence, including rape, is not just a byproduct of war, but increasingly employed as a deliberate strategy by state and non-state actors to retaliate against, terrorize, intimidate, control, and displace civilians. Such acts may amount to crimes against humanity, war crimes, or genocide. Further, sexual violence in conflict significantly exacerbates and prolongs situations of armed conflict, destroys the social fabric of communities, and impedes peace-building and reconciliation efforts. Sexual violence is a pervasive facet of many conflicts today, claiming thousands of victims every year. In South Sudan, sexual violence in conflict remains rampant, often used as a collective retribution against ethnic rivals. The UN mission in South Sudan reported 1,157 cases of sexual violence during 2018, and these are only the reported cases in a context of notoriously underreported incidences. Similarly, as Ms. Murad has attested, the so-called Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant has systematically committed rape and sexual violence against Yazidi women and girls, which the Independent International Commission of Inquiry on Syria has characterized as war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. As it is the primary responsibility of member states to protect their population against genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and ethnic cleansing, including those involving rape and sexual violence, the group of Friends of the Responsibility to Protect would like to stress the following points. First, strengthening the capacity of national institutions is critical to ensuring accountability for such crimes in the past and to preventing and deterring such crimes in the future. It is of utmost importance that states put in place and enforce legislative and institutional procedures to comprehensively address sexual violence in conflict and prevent its occurrence. Despite the increased awareness of the issue, most incidents of mass rape continue to be met with impunity. States have the primary responsibility to investigate and prosecute crimes committed within their jurisdiction, and national accountability efforts should be encouraged and supported, including through the strengthening of judicial cooperation between states. Fact-finding missions, investigative mechanisms, commissions of inquiry, hybrid and international courts and tribunals provide complementary avenues for accountability when and where options under domestic law prove insufficient. Second, there is an urgent need for a survival-centered approach to support the needs of victims of sexual and gender-based violence before, during, and after situations of conflict. The international community should support provision of appropriate medical, psychosocial, socioeconomic reintegration assistance and services to survivors in order to prevent re-victimization and restore the social fabric of societies after conflict. Third, at the heart of sexual violence lies a disregard for human rights, as well as